Hey everyone, this is John Sarantino, the designer and host of Wellfed. By now you've probably heard the recent news of the coronavirus. I hope you, your friends, and family are all safe and healthy. I wasn't planning on doing this series, but I'm sure just like me, you're also trying to adjust to this. Before the weekend, I spoke with a few friends of the podcast to see how this is affecting them and what they are doing to adapt. I hope you enjoy this series I'm calling Create From Home. So, Amber, thank you so much for joining me today. I know times are hectic, and I hope everyone who's listening is safe. They're taking the precautions, stay inside, distancing. I think the idea was to kind of reach out to some of the guests on the podcast, have them talk about, how they're getting on during this time of like isolation and, as artists in the creative community, what are some of the things that you're finding, to be helpful during this time? Let's just start off with, how has your routine changed overall, and what are you doing throughout the day to kind of keep things fresh and keep your mind moving?
Yeah, so I usually work from home. So I'm fortunate that hasn't changed. Dave, my partner, is now also working from home, and we live in a small apartment, but it's been good. So for like, if he's usually on call, so if he's on a call, one of us will go into the other room and vice versa. But I feel like ever since everyone has started to work from home, that like I'm just constantly just checking the news. So I'm like behind my own schedule. But I still schedule things out like as if I would if I were to have like a full workload. A lot of the work that I had planned either got canceled or postponed, so I definitely have a lot more free time. So I've just been putting in my calendar things like going out for a walk for exercise. We live in an area that predominantly is surrounded by office buildings, so it's been pretty empty. So being able to go out for like a walk for an hour, I just loop Gramercy Park. So if you see crazy lady looping Gramercy Park twice a day, that's me. And then I'll put time in my schedule to cook. We usually like to eat out just because it's fun to like try different foods and go to different restaurants, but obviously that's not possible. So we're trying to recreate that here by cooking ourselves. It's not as good, but it's fine.
Yeah, how I know, a big thing right now, right, is like all of the kind of supplies and grocers and all that. Like today, I think New York has mentioned that, no essential employees should go into the city. Have you been ordering from local restaurants and local places? And, have you been cooking more? I know like I have myself for sure.
Yeah, we've done like a lot more cooking. I just made like a ton of pasta. I was like, well, this will float me for a few days. And then also ordering from like restaurants that are within a walking distance. That way delivery can be by foot or by bike and not by car or mass transit. And then yeah, I mean, just a lot of cooking. Yeah, today they announced that like it's 100% of employees that are non-essential should work from home. I'm lucky to live close to like a big grocery store and then a smaller like health specialty grocery store. And the smaller one carries a lot of the snacks that I love because I have a nut allergy. And usually most people don't eat those snacks because they're slightly more expensive and like they're good, but they're not as good as like snacks with nuts in it. So I've been really lucky that they're both always fully stocked. Like every time I've gone in there over the last, I guess like 3 weeks now, I try to keep it to once or twice a week going. Just because we have a really small kitchen, so we can't like stockpile for 3 weeks. But it's always been full, and I've never like not been able to find something, which is great. So
You're, having the pleasure of having you as a guest in the last season, and knowing that you already are sort of used to this kind of work from home lifestyle, like this is very much your realm. I know a lot of people have said like they're taking this time and as an opportunity to kind of like incorporate new processes or new routine things in their routine, and even myself, it's like I tried to subscribe to that a little bit, but I find that I'm working a little bit longer. I'm kind of paying attention to email a little bit more as obviously things are a little crazy. But is there anything that like I guess you're thinking about taking up as a new learning or teaching yourself, or finding some more time in that day to I guess progress in some way?
yeah, so I've been just because I don't really have too many client projects that I'm working on. I've been selling my art and kind of like making that a bit more efficient, which has been great. And then I just actually, like right before we started talking, I just ordered supplies to do some acrylic painting. It was something that I wanted to do when it got a little warmer outside, because we do have like a small outdoor space. But I was like, I've got the time now and I do enjoy painting. Let me just like kind of get back into that and, you know, see what comes of it, because I have nothing else to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely tried to, you know, put a stack of books in my room and tried to carve out some more time to potentially
Agreed.
learn something new and things like that. You know, as someone that's a little bit further along in like their independent career, to someone who is younger listening to this and just starting out, you know, is there something that you would recommend as something that they can do to potentially come out of this time of isolation as a stronger or stronger by the time we get to the end of this?
I would say definitely like reach out to artists that you look up to and see if they have free time to like either like hop on FaceTime or Hangouts or Zoom or any of the video chat apps. Because likelihood is really high that they're free. So that's kind of what I've been doing, is just reaching out to like other artists that I admire. Just be like, hey, do you want to like video chat for a half hour? That way you could build connections with people that otherwise like you maybe based on both your schedules wouldn't have time. I would also like just try to carve out time to just make work for yourself. You don't need to share that work. It could just be like in your sketchbook. It could just be like scribbles. Like allow yourself to kind of disconnect from everything that's going on, even if it's for like 10 minutes. That's been helping me a lot.
Yeah, and in that time, as you said, like you've been using time to take break, to walk around the block just a few times to get that rest. Because I find, like I said, you know, I'm even though technically I can get up and start work immediately, I'm going a little bit further than when everyone signs off, because you know I have this little thing. I can maybe free up more time tomorrow, and just continues to kind of carry over that next day and next day. And it's so I think I need to kind of put that to into play more and really take that rest from work.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that too, because I'm like, there are no days. What day is it? You
Exactly.
know, like I don't gotta be anywhere because I can't go anywhere. So like, there's definitely like no sense of urgency for anything other than the projects that I have due. I have like 2 that I'm working on. But like outside of those, I'm like, I could just work on this until I'm tired because I have nowhere else to be. So that's something I have to work on too. It's just like, okay, you're gonna like close your computer, you're gonna put your stuff away, and now you're gonna read or just like watch TV or like, I don't know, watch a movie. Even though watching movies have been really difficult for me because like every time there's like a crowded scene, I'm like, oh, I can't be like that anymore.
It's
That
crazy,
seems,
yeah.
it's like definitely a mind fuck. But the only like solace that I have is the fact that like we're all going through it together versus like it's just an isolated incident. So that's kind of like the only, I guess, semi silver lining to the whole thing is,
How do you think something like this will affect? I mean, you know, a lot of the creative community, design community, especially in New York, has mentioned that, you know, we have the capabilities of being able to work from remotely at a lot of the time. I've been in the situation where certain offices or certain companies require you because they enjoy that FaceTime. So it's interesting to see how businesses adjust. How do you think this will kind of affect that way of operating for businesses and companies, you know, moving forward?
it'll be interesting. I guess like the only example I really have is where Dave works. So he works at an ad agency, but he works in paid media. So it's a little different than creative, but they're just like on video chats all the time. Like they all the time. Like, oh my God, how do you get anything done? And he says that he struggled to like, he feels like this week has been like the busiest week so far, like in the last year of his work, just because it's like hopping on calls, making sure that you're like engaged. Whereas like sometimes if you're in a meeting, like you could kind of do work off on the side. I don't know if he does that, but I definitely did when I worked full time. I was
Yeah,
like,
for
yeah,
sure.
I'm paying attention. Not, but yeah, so I hope that what comes out of it is that companies that like traditionally were like, oh, you need to work in person will hopefully have a more like lenient approach to how people work together, just because everyone does work differently. And if some people prefer to work from home some days, I think that should be something that hopefully because we're going to probably be in this for a while, that when we do come out of it, that companies are like, oh yeah, it's okay if you work from home, or you work from home, we'll just video chat you in. But I think a few like companies that can work predominantly digitally that do like FaceTime, I think it will be a struggle for the next few weeks, but I feel like humans are pretty good at adapting. So I think by like week like 4, 5, 6, however long we're going to be doing this, we'll be like, oh yeah, like it'll be weird when we can like go out to a restaurant. We'll be like, people,
Yeah, exactly.
You're less than 6 feet away from me. What?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about like how, when this does pass, like how we'll be interacting with other people again. Like that's kind of crazy. I think you kind of mentioned a few valuable things, definitely like taking the time to make sure you have that mental break and step away from work. For younger creatives listening out there, absolutely reach out to some of the people that you admire and hope to, get in touch with them, ask them if they can, review your portfolio or just even connect with them.
Totally.
I think do that with as many people as possible at this time. What's a small thing that people can do to kind of make their day more enjoyable? For example, I've been wearing, this is not something I should mention, but I've been wearing these overalls for the last 5 days.
And maybe awesome. I've worn this sweatshirt for like a week, so
maybe I'm going crazy. I don't know. But is there any sort of moment of joy that you're making sure that you incorporate throughout the day that helps you get through it?
It's gonna be pretty funny, but I like love TikTok. I make my own TikToks, and they're pretty bad. But you don't even need a TikTok account to watch TikToks, and people are hilarious. And even and that's funny because sometimes you'll see older TikToks where there's like groups of people, and you're like, that didn't just happen, but this is hilarious. So I try to like carve out 10 minutes to watch TikTok, and I actually time it because you can just be like, oh, I'll be on here for 10 minutes, and like 6 hours will go by. Yeah.
You can absolutely, I have it on, and I have it on my phone, and there are times where I can just absolutely get lost. So I feel you on that one.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been doing to like be like, ha ha ha. I don't know. Also, like all the late night shows like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, I think The Daily Show, they're all doing their like at home shows, and they're so funny, even though they're like 10 minutes. It's pretty funny to kind of see how they're like scrapping a TV show together from home. So that also makes me laugh.
Yeah, I will definitely take a look into that. Amber, thank you so much for, taking time today. I know we're all kind of going through this and trying to adapt, but I really appreciate it. And I hope people that are listening also find some kind of helpful advice in this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's fun.
If you're looking for more information about the virus, please visit cdc.gov. If you're looking for someone to talk to because you're unsure or you have a story you'd like to share, you can always DM me on Instagram at Wellfed Podcast. You can also join me on this app I found called House Party. It's a video game app that uses your camera, and it's really helped me take my mind off the news and stay connected with people. You can find me on there at Jonsorre. That's JONSORRE. As always, this podcast is produced by me, John Sorrentino, and my friend Kevin Bendis. Everyone stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next episode.